evening, wrestling fans, and welcome to the Wrestle Talk podcast. For the next 2 hours, we will bring you the latest pro wrestling news, in-depth analysis of all your favorite promotions from across the globe, and much, much more. We will also bring you exclusive interviews with the greatest professional wrestling personalities on the local, national, and international levels. If you want to follow the Wrestle Talk podcast, check us out online at www.wrestletalkpodcast.com. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. And now, it's time for the reigning, defending, undisputed leader in pro wrestling podcast, the Wrestle Talk Podcast. Good evening, wrestling fans, and welcome.
Good evening, wrestling fans. Welcome to the Wrestle Talk podcast. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It is Tuesday night, 7 Central, 8 Eastern, and time for the Wrestle Talk podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Another great episode 485. Only about 15 episodes away from 500, ladies and gentlemen. That is going to be a huge episode, and I cannot wait. But, you know, as always, we have a lot to talk about. There's been a lot going on in the professional wrestling world, and just so much going on. And as always, I am not here by myself, ladies and gentlemen. Not at all. I am joined once again by the one and only Gabriel RC.
Yo, we got to get the close-up here real quick because Battle Riot just happened. And oh my God, my camera looks terrible on screen right now. Shout out to Janai Kai for defending the MLW Women's Featherweight Championship at MLW. They are coming here in July. And I'm just trying to shoot my shot. I'm trying to go again. Do we still have that photo of Matt Riddle on file, John Haas?
I don't think I have it uploaded here, but you know.
But, shout out to Janai Kai. I'm trying to get that shout out here on the podcast officially. She's cool. But dude, how you been? Well, we got this pairing once again, Susan Licky. Oh my goodness, am I saying that right? Is it Licky?
Yep, that's it.
Okay, I wasn't sure if it's Likey. But always good to have you, Sister Haas. But hardcore Haas, how's it hanging?
Hey, it's going good. You know, just looking forward to another great episode. And we must have done something right last week because they're letting us do it again. I tell you.
Yeah, don't sell yourself short. We crushed that. We crushed that interview. I'm allowed to brag. Assad, Wrestle Talk Podcast family. Please, everybody, be sure to tweet. You can find us on X, Instagram, hashtag Let's Talk Wrestling, Wrestle Talk Podcast, the FWWC. I wanted to say before we jump into these high spots questions, were you trying to rattle off these sponsors?
Always.
We got to knock this out.
The Wrestle Talk Podcast, as always, we want to thank our great sponsors. You got Royal Mills Transportation. That's the one and only Dewan Mills with all your transportation needs out there in the KC area. You got Nobleman's Barber Lounge, KCMO. Ask for Pete the Barber. Ken Cade Arcade at the Oak Park Mall. Interstate 70 Sports Media. Jeremy Karp and the guys over there absolutely killing it. Little Popeyes Designs, where you can get your very own Wrestle Talk Podcast tumbler. You don't have one, be sure to hit up myself, hit up Gabe, hit up Night Owl. We'll get you set up with one. And as always, it's the FWWC, the world's premier fantasy wrestling group. So
that's right.
That's right. So always, we have a great time over there. We have a great time here. And be sure, ladies and gentlemen, to use that hashtags WTP and hashtag Let's Talk Wrestling. You know, that's what we are here for.
Exactly. We are here for that. Hashtag Let's Talk Wrestling on X. You can find us, guys. We are trying to get your opinions on wrestling, okay? Even the bad ones. But I digress. No, we really love the support, guys. It helps us to get it. We love to have you guys in our comments section. Just shout out to the Wrestle Talk podcast family. And as always, you know, let's talk wrestling. We're trying to hear your opinions. You know, we talk WWE, WCW, New Japan Pro Wrestling. I know I get a lot of that. I got you to watch a pay-per-view, Hardcore Huss. So we got a lot to talk about in the world of professional wrestling since last time. But before we get into that, we've covered the sponsors. But can we ever forget the most important part of this show?
Oh, never can we forget it. Let me tell you.
I know it would kill me. I may be a patriot, but let me tell you, Night Owl is this man bleeds red, white, and blue. Okay, it's not Hulk Hogan. much to Sister Haas's badass American Divas chagrin. We must give thanks, give appreciation, and respect to the greatest country on God's green earth. That's America, damn it. Roll, Hardcore Haas, roll it. If we can run that back. Oh, goodness. As always, brings a tear to your eye and blood to your ears. 911. Somebody go check on Sister Haas. I think she's down. But with that out of the way, Hardcore Haas, we can finally talk a little bit in what's happening in the world of professional wrestling. She's got a splitting headache. You're muted, bud. Just to make sure.
There we go. But before we get to that, though, I do have something very special to play, though, because we can't just let this pass. And hopefully he's watching, or at least catches the replay. Because no matter whether you're live or with the replay, we always appreciate you being here, and be sure to share the program as well. But I got to play this one thing for a special person, for a member of the Wrestle Talk family, the one and only Jeremy Karp. This goes out to you, my friend.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear. Happy birthday to you. Ting pong.
I had no idea it was Jeremy's birthday. I didn't check it on my Facebook. Oh my God.
Yeah,
What kind of coworker I am.
It's his birthday, and to make it worse, I honestly am not sure how old he is today, but at his shoot job, one of the people there wished him a happy 50th birthday. And we all know Jeremy, he's not 50.
red card. That's a foul on the play.
So happy 50th birthday, Jeremy.
Like $200, man. Come on.
So Jeremy, we love you here at Wrestle Talk Podcast, and happy 50th birthday, buddy.
We're trying to get him to run the boards, Hardcore Haas. This is probably why he's not on the show right now. We keep bullying him. No, we love you, Jeremy. Happy birthday, man. Happy 50. But with all that being said, are we trying to run through this high spots? Are we trying to get
definitely
DJ Money
we're going to go ahead and hit that DJ Money, and
we're speeding through it tonight. We got our foot on the pedal.
so let's go ahead and hit it. The one and only DJ Money.
Mic check, mic check. Yeah. All right. Wrestle Talk Podcast. DJ Money. Yeah. Let's go. Welcome to High Spots, where we pop news like clear chops. We talk shop, coming through the screens of a laptop, and non-stop like a running speakers of blacktop. We hit hard like chair shots and backdrops, like a spark flash, look like a barely fly. Now that's hard. We up to speed while they stay slow. Wrestle Talk Podcast. Now they know we about to start the show.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for those high spots. Just looking forwards to all the great topics we got in here. And, shout out to AJ Wallace, Aaron Wallace out there, always joining us. Always a pleasure. So if you have an opinion on something we're talking about, be sure to drop it in the comments so we can show your comment. If you really have a hard take, be sure to hit up myself or one of the other members of Wrestle Talk, and we'll be glad to shoot you a link and bring you on screen with us. But you gotta have a good, hard-hitting take on it. So we are always... Now you're muted.
Oh, lovely. I was talking to myself, apparently. No lukewarm takes here in the Wrestle Talk podcast. And we got to get your handle on there, Hardcore Hoss, so they know where to find you. See if we can get anybody to take that belt from you. But you can find me here. You should find me on Instagram. I'm at Gangrel. You should find a picture of Cyclops on Twitter or X. But please be sure to shout us out. Like, that's what the hashtag's there.
I brought it out with me, but I don't see it, so I must not have. But my handle is right there at Hardcore Hoss 1.
There you go. Okay, so you got me covered on that one. Check me.
So, all right, let's go ahead and see if we can get this randomizer fired up and ready to go. I've been making sure it's all set up and good, so I think we might have it. So let's see what happens. Ooh, our first topic. Then the question is TNA Knockout Champion Jordan Grace showing up on NXT a sign of things to come? That could be interesting. And I don't necessarily know if it is a sign of things to come, but it's something I would love to see. I think it would be awesome to have that working relationship between WWE and TNA. They've already had a couple years in a row where we brought their people over, their champions.
Mickey
for the
James
Rumble.
was a surprise. It was crazy.
Yeah.
That's a big deal still. I don't care what anybody says. That's still pretty cool that happened. For this. Well, finish your thought. I'm sorry, Haas. I'm talking about
and this year, you had Jordan Grace come over to the Rumble. Now she's showing up on NXT, going to challenge for that women's NXT championship. I think this is just, as our good friend Savior Saint likes to say, I think this is just taking things higher and higher and higher. And I just hope that it continues, because so far it has been just absolutely awesome to see. So I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes and hope that it is a sign of things to come. And shout out to the one and only Herb Simmons.
We love you, man.
Our guy out there. So
bring over James Storm. Absolutely. That's the funniest part too, is that he was on NXT for a little bit. He was playing around after his contract expired, but he didn't didn't sign a deal. He just did like some indie.
And I'm not sure that he is under contract with anybody now, is he? Is he still under contract with TNA? I didn't think he was. I thought he was basically independent now.
I'm pretty sure he is. Like, if I had to guess, because I haven't seen him on TNA in a fat minute, but it also could just be like a Legends contract situation. But no, Sister Haas got the right idea. All right, get James Storm on WWE TV. At the very least, NXT. Like, come on, man. That'd be awesome. If anybody could get Bobby Roode to put on his boots again, it's James Storm. But to go back to the topic, this is going to be awesome. Like, I don't know what this spells for the long run. I don't know if this means we're going to see more TNA co-branded features with WWE. I don't know if we're going to see an invasion. Are those things that I want to see happen? Hardcore Haas, I think we can agree, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. And you know, we actually have an update coming from NXT, where their opening match tonight was Jordan Grace versus Stevie Turner, with Roxanne Perez at ringside, and Grace just absolutely ran through Turner, from what I hear. And of course, they teased the Grace Perez. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing that. And I think this is just adding a whole exciting element to everything. And the fact that the Forbidden Door has been shut for so many years, and now all of a sudden, you know, seems to be not just open. I mean, they basically just kicked that thing in. And I'm just looking forward to seeing where it goes.
Well, and what's interesting is the potential feuds that it creates. Like, I'm geeking out just thinking about it, you know, because sky's the limit if you're just imagining. And I'm just like, man, well, for starters, AJ Francis is there. Shout out. But he's currently with Rich Swann. That would be pretty interesting if they could tie that back into it. I mean, we all know he did work at WWE. But it would be interesting to see with stuff like, I mean, we've already mentioned like Nick Nemeth is in TNA. So what does that spell if they do a cross? Like, what happens there? Does he go by Nick Nemeth or does he go by Dolph Ziggler? Like, is this going to become an Ezekiel fucking Elias thing, or is this going to be like, no, Triple H will treat it with more respect when we do this crossover? But I'm just getting ahead of myself, dude. Jordan Grace is on NXT TV. Come on, that's pretty tight.
Yeah, it's absolutely awesome to see, and just as I've said several times now, the places it can go is just unimaginable. And I think with Triple H at the helm of things, you know, it's exciting to see. So, all right, are we good with that, or do we ready to go to the next topic?
I think we're ready to throw it to the next topic.
All right, let's see what we got. Ooh, so we have AEW and Tony Khan. And our question is, during the AEW Double or Nothing media, Tony Khan mentioned his interest in introducing mixed tag team titles to AEW. What are your thoughts on that? You want to go ahead and hit us with this one, Gabe? Your thoughts?
Yeah, because I have the most to say about it out of the gate. And no, like, I'm the biggest defender of AEW right now, and the fact that they have a lot of belts, because some of it is just cross promotion. I think Ring of Honor should stand on its own, but when it appears on AEW, I don't really care, especially because they merged the trios titles. So I feel like they cut down on the fat a little bit. But for God's sakes, you have a deal with AAA that lets them use the mixed titles. You don't need your own. You have enough. You have enough with the belts that you have there, Tony. Just use them. You have 3 women's belts on ROH. Use them. Just use those instead of thinking, how do we get more content from what's AEW missing? How about use what's there? You don't need to worry about what's missing. You got a lot of boxes ticked. Sorry. He doesn't need those belts. That's where I'm at with it.
Yeah, in my opinion, AEW getting more belts, it already seems like, for a while, it's kind of been an AEW where you get a belt, you get a belt, you get a belt, you get a belt, so I think they have enough titles over there as it is. I think the last thing they need to do is add more titles. Now, to really think about it, if it wasn't for the fact that they have so many titles, would it be intriguing? Actually, I think it would kind of be interesting if they didn't already have so many titles. But with all the titles they've got, I think it kind of gets lost as to who's got what title and who are the AEW champions versus the ROH champions. And it's just too confusing already. And I think you need to sort all that out before you go looking at a whole nother division to add titles.
I agree 100%. This feels like, okay, here's what it is. I'm a huge comic book guy. This feels like Crisis on Infinite Earth, bro. You're making this too complicated. It's like nobody wants to pay attention to this much stuff happening on wrestling. It's wrestling. We just want to turn it on and see people hit each other for the gold. When you got 15 different belts on screen, it gets confusing. I couldn't agree more. I'm sorry. That was a really weird analogy. But yeah, I mean, you think about it. You have your ROH tag team champions. You have your AEW tag team champions. Now they have at least unified the ROH and AEW trios champions. Now, will that last? Who knows? I have no idea. TNT, TBS championship. Like we have the trios titles. And then it's like we have the All Atlantic and the Continental. And it's like, oh my God, this is.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, who are the ROH champs? And who are the AEW champs? I'm not sure anybody knows at this point.
I
it's
know.
like, which tag team champs are they?
Exactly. And it's like, I know, but it's because I sat down and spent an hour and a half sorting through all the history in the past 3 months. It's like, I know that it's, what's his name? Mark Briscoe won the ROH singles world title, but that's it. Like, because I'm the dork who pays attention to that crap. For the average viewer, they don't care about that. So it's like, it's just wasted effort, especially because, like we said, sort it out first. You have stuff there. You have belts. Worry about the women and men you have right now before you start going, maybe we should do mixed tag teams. How about the tag teams you have now, Tony? I say this because I care.
Yeah, exactly. So, but hopefully, they'll get things sorted out, and we'll be getting more quality entertainment. I mean, AEW, there's a lot of them there that have great potential, and
100%.
But I just don't think it's being ran to the potential. Like I say, too many titles. I think. And you're starting to see a lot of people leaving, but I think that's because you're bringing in a lot of names, like Okada and Ospreay, and now MJF's back. And, so you're getting a lot of bigger names coming in at the top, and you're pushing the mid card and lower card people out, which isn't always a bad thing. The only downside to that is, they're not getting the chance to really bring themselves up. So they just leave the company. And I believe that's what you're starting to see with AEW. So I don't know that more titles would be a good thing.
I mean, you pretty much hit the nail on the head.
So, all right, give me 1 second here, and let's go ahead and hit that randomizer. And
I feel like you diffused the bomb that I set up, because I felt like it got really awkward, and then it's like, John Haas brought it back down. We're good.
So let's go ahead and see what else we've got here in this randomizer. Cody Rhodes. Now, there's a lot that can be discussed with Cody Rhodes, but the question on this one is that Dave Meltzer has stated that Cody Rhodes is WWE's biggest babyface since Steve Austin and The Rock. Do you agree with that statement? So, Gabe, go ahead and kick us off on that one real quick. Do you agree with Cody Rhodes being the biggest babyface since Steve Austin and The Rock?
I know a lot of y'all are about to be really mad at me when I say this, but yes. I absolutely think Cody is on that level right now. I've been following this man's ascent into this sort of almost legend status. This is the kind of stuff we're going to be talking about for a while, even well into the late half of his years. But we're lucky to have him at his peak, and he's still pretty young, and he's already the champion. He got to finish his story, and now he gets to tell whatever story he wants going forward with the wind to his back. And I am very excited for it. So yes, I do agree that he is one of the biggest baby faces, not just in the fact that he can draw, but the fact that Cody makes me sympathetic. But what do you think, Haas? That's just me.
Well, and Susie points out that Steve Austin was a babyface heel. Even when he did heel things, the fans absolutely loved him, which was actually something I was going to bring up because, in my opinion, right now, yes, Cody is one of the most loved superstars out there, probably since The Rock, since Steve Austin. So right now, yes, I totally believe that. But just like Susie said, Steve Austin could do heel things and still get cheered. I think, and part of the reason I think is because I would say at least 99% of the time it happened. Eventually, maybe not right away, not right now. It may be a couple years down the road. It may happen next week. Who knows? But you're gonna see Cody turn heel. It's just, it happens. And I think when you see Cody doing heel things, he's gonna catch the heat. He's gonna catch the boot. Whereas Rock, you still see him getting mixed reactions with him doing the whole heel thing now. When he'd come out and put down Cody and put down the Rhodes family and everything, you still heard people cheering. You still saw the signs in the arena, Cody crybabies, and so he's still getting support from at least half of the crowd as a heel. Steve Austin got support from probably at least 95% of the crowd as a heel, if not the whole crowd. I can see Cody getting completely booed as a heel. So I don't know that I would put him quite on the same level that I do The Rock or Steve Austin, but right now as a face, yes, he's drawing more than anybody has in a long time. He's got a bigger following right now than anybody has in a long time, but I don't put him on their level quite yet. I could be wrong about him turning heel. Like I say, I'm not saying it's happening now. I'm not saying it's going to happen soon, but I believe it's something that will eventually happen, and you're going to see people turn on him when he does. And you just didn't see that with Rock or Austin.
Fair enough. All right. Well, I am curious to see how that heel turn turns out for Cody, because a lot of what I liked about him was when he was a heel back in like 2012, when he was in WWE, just before. Do you remember undashing Cody Rhodes when he had the face mask and it was clear and he would hand out bags to the audience? That was peak.
Yeah.
I loved it. I love Cody Rhodes as a heel. So I think it is too close to the ball dropping for us to determine how far he bounces, so to speak. but I am curious to see how it goes. Shout out to Night Owl, Renee Martinez. Happy to have you in the comment section, bro. Why ain't you on the show, bro? Come on. What are you doing? This dude likes to do all the talking, Hardcore Us, but he's never on the show to talk to us about it.
And even though he's only in the comment section, I got to do this for you one time, Night Owl. I haven't got to hit this one in a while.
Always, even when he's not on the show. But let's keep rolling through these high spots questions, Hardcore Haas. We got a lot of good ones here tonight. We're doing good. We're going to do good on time. We're covering a lot here.
Yeah. So and we're a little ways away from our featured guest, Axl Crowe, and I do know that probably here in about 20-25 minutes or so, Perry's going to be joining us for some snippets of truth. I don't know if Dewan will be joining us or not, but we can, if he doesn't, we can definitely update everybody on the situation there in the FWWC with Dewan. And so definitely still a lot to talk about. Be sure not to tune out. And let's get ready to go here with the next topic. So let's see, what's this randomizer got for us? The next topic it brings up, the QR code. So it's right here. With the QR codes being used for so long on WWE programming, are you still looking forwards to the results from the QR code? Honestly, this is something I kind of thought about the other day myself. I wasn't the one that submitted this question. Our own Luke Roberts, submitted this question. But I was thinking about this just the other day. There seems to still be a lot of excitement around the QR code. People wanting to know what are they showing us this week with it, and I think they're all hoping that eventually it will reveal when and where Uncle Howdy will appear, because they all seem to be pointing towards Uncle Howdy, and so people are excited over it and still seem to be excited. But at the same time, they've been stretching this thing out forever. Did they really need to stretch it out so long? I think some people, even though they're looking forwards to, what's this one? What's this one? I think it's more of the excitement of the return of Uncle Howdy than it is the QR code. And I think the QR codes have been drug out a little too long, in my opinion. I think it's about time that we get that payoff from them before everybody just gets to the point, well, there's another QR code, and just starts thinking, this is never going to happen. We're never going to get the payoff. So I think they drug it out about as long as they actually, I think they drug it out longer than they should. But I think they need to cut them before everybody's interest in the QR codes are gone. What's your thought on the QR code?
I mean, I honestly am in the same boat as you, Hardcore Haas. I didn't know they were still tracking them out, because I kept hearing words and rumbles about like what was going on with Uncle Howdy. But yeah, like I didn't know they were still doing it. I just want them to, like, I agree that I think they've strung it out long enough to where they should pull the trigger now. Because not only do you run the risk of them, testing your fans' patience, in my case, you get the problem of testing your fans' memory. So it's like, if they forget that they're like, oh yeah, the last one was in like February, they're like, oh, did he finally debut? Huh? Like, that's not, you shouldn't have a reaction to somebody like Uncle Howdy, especially with all the potential that gimmick might have. So yeah, especially because people figured that out. So it's okay to reward them and give them what they want already and see where it falls, you know. But
Well, I don't think it was ever supposed to be a long, drawn out mystery. Um, it's a mystery that truly started. They didn't do a QR code with it, but it started with the Bray Wyatt documentary right at the end, where you saw the shadow of Uncle Howdy. You know, that right there just started the speculation of Uncle Howdy's return. And then shortly thereafter, they started the QR codes that, if you actually went ahead and followed those QR codes, all the clues pointed to Uncle Howdy. So I don't think it was ever supposed to be a huge mystery as to what those QR codes were. But I think that it's just drawn out way too long. And I think eventually you're going to get people fed up with these QR codes and just lose interest in them. And then the payoffs, when it finally happens, people are just going to be, I don't care anymore. Yeah, so I think they need to do it before people just don't care.
I agree. And we're all being on the same page on the Wrestle Talk podcast for once. Yes, I agree. I think they need to pull the trigger before. I think for me, it's before it's too late. I don't think that it's too late. I'm just saying I think they need to do it now.
Yeah, exactly. So
especially because there's a lot of time to fill. Like we got a lot of time before SummerSlam, so like we need something to keep everybody going. Like, okay, well, we have the Dominic Mysterio love triangle, but what is going to scratch that itch for our savant wrestling nerds on the internet? Sorry,
there's questions about Dominic in here too. So who knows what'll pop up next?
But let's throw it back to the randomizer. Okay, no, we loaded that. There's no way.
Okay, so is this the beginning of the end for Dom and Rhea? Your thoughts?
Well, I want to start off by saying I don't know who submitted Rhea, but that's not how you spell it. But oh my God, this is such a loaded question because I'm like, oh my God, Dom, please don't die. But also, I think this is the beginning. Only because, and hear me out, this is Gabriel Arsen, scheming businessman mind here, cooking up something fresh for the wrestling populi. I think if anybody can convince and deceive Liv Morgan, it's got to be Dirty Dominic Mysterio. Okay, I feel like he's gonna let her get into her comfort zone, play the long game, even after Rhea comes back, and she has to, they have to have that moment where he's like, "Do you trust me? Trust me." Okay, and then we find out that he was just playing Liv Morgan the whole time. And it'll be the greatest swerve ever and the most amazing romantic get-together between Rhea and Dom as they say sorry for everything that happened in the intervening months while they scheme to win her back the world championship and her hub at the same time. But that's me being romantical about it. We're throwing it to you, Hardcore Odds. Do you think this is the beginning or the end of Dominic and Rhea? Oh, did you correct the question?
Honestly, I think this could possibly be them setting up the whole end. I mean, it's no secret, that Rhea and Dom aren't together outside of the ring. That's all kayfabe, and
But neither
Dom
are him
is
and
married. No, but it could very well be setting up the split between them. Or, what could be somewhat interesting is, could this be a whole thing that when Rhea comes back, she may get a face turn out of her return, and be kicked out of the Judgment Day and Liv be brought in and replace her in Judgment Day?
That's a potential. Ooh, that'd be a big Mufasa moment. Just turning on mommy. Why is that a sentence in wrestling in 2024? What kind of degenerates do we watch this crap? Oh, that'd be awesome though. Oh my god. Now I'm like brainstorming what you suggested because mine feels like the cool answer, but yours feels like the but what if answer. This is the mystery box answer. Sorry, I'm really excited about where this turns out. I don't think it's the end though. I don't think it's the end. No, AJ, if they were going to have a ladder match, it's got to be a custody of Dominic Mysterio match. Just like Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero had.
That's what I was saying. Throwback to Ray and Eddie.
But instead of a contract, it's just Dominic. They just put make it a shark cage match, but put Dominic above the ring, and whoever gets the key wins. I should be booking for WWE Hardcore.
And then the ladies begin to climb both sides of the ladder at the same time. They're fighting at the top over the key, and then all at once they both jump down and walk out the ring and leave him hanging.
There you go. That'd be the ultimate swerve. If Rhea and Liv found out their love for each other and then kicked Dominic out of the Judgment Day. They would do it. WWE's crazy enough. They would do. I'm just saying. Look, it's 2024. All right.
And then with some of the swerves that WWE is throwing us here lately, they both walk out the ring together, and then there's some lesbian triangle.
That would be the ultimate mystery box. But we got off track here.
This thing just went off the rails.
This is what happens when we're left.
Now, see, just as I said that.
Yeah, exactly. See, we're not the only ones. We're not. See, this could be over. Triple H, this is our idea, but this is Wrestle Talk podcast for your fresh takes on the wrestling world.
Oh goodness!
Randomizer. This is getting out of track.
Yeah, it's a good thing Perry's going to be on a little bit because I think we're going to need a snippet of truth after this.
I think he needs to spray my room with some holy water. just like fumigate it.
So, all right, let's go ahead and see what else this randomizer can bring up for us tonight. Arn Anderson. So with Arn Anderson leaving AEW, should he guide his son's career on the independents or go back to the WWE with Cody Rhodes or just outright retire? Honestly, I think at this point, Arn, he deserves a retirement. As long as he's been at this, everything that he has been through in the wrestling career and everything, I think he has a well-deserved retirement coming. Now, will he actually retire? Guys like Arn don't just retire. I mean, you look at Ric Flair and people like that, they just don't retire. They don't just go away and live their golden years, and they stay at it as long as they can. Now, do I look for him back in WWE? No, I don't. Honestly, I don't foresee him coming back to WWE. I haven't gotten to listen to it yet, but I do know out there on YouTube somewhere there is a thing where Arn is telling people the real reasons he left AEW, and the answer may be there in that. I don't know, but honestly, I don't look for him back in WWE. And since he's leaving AEW, he's probably going to work with his son and try to help his son through the independent and try to get his son boosted to one of the larger groups, and it remains to be seen which one. But I don't foresee him showing up in WWE anytime soon. Your thoughts?
I think Arn has plenty left to give. I think, just as you said, it's for people like him. I don't want to say it's hard to turn it off. I just want to say that it's like they just know how to make it work. It's weird. Like these are considered the golden years for a classic wrestler like Arn Anderson. So I want to see him help his son's career on the independent scene. Like I honestly want the like American version of what happened with Charlie Dempsey, William Regal, essentially. Like I want that, where it's like, oh, he left AEW and then helped his son, and then he went to Japan and came to WWE and NXT and then won the Heritage Cup. Like I want that exact story. Just, but it's American instead of England. So, and then as far as him coming back with Cody, I'd like to see that eventually if it can happen. But to throw it back to our other question, I kind of want to wait till Cody turns heel for that to happen, because I think that would be sick. But that's just me like spitballing. And then retiring, just no. I mean, I've already said it, but like I don't think Arn Anderson should retire. I think he's still got gas in the tank, especially when it comes to what's what about professional wrestling. Now more so than like 20 years ago, but that's just me.
Yeah, I mean, if he is going to continue in wrestling, it's going to be in a management type thing. I don't foresee him, having too many matches in the ring at his age. I mean, he does still look pretty decent for a guy his age, and looks like he could go a few more rounds, but I just don't foresee him actually stepping in the ring. It would have to be in a management type situation, and I don't foresee him managing anyone in the WWE. I mean, a couple people have thrown his name and Cody's name together, but I don't foresee it. So I think he would probably more so manage his son's career and help his son, who is still in the Indies. So that's just my thoughts, though, and I've been known to be wrong before.
Well, we'd like to hear what you guys think. I mean, because me and Haas are pretty transparent about our thoughts on it. But I mean, be sure to let us know. # Let's Talk Wrestling. Because I didn't really have much to add to that, Hardcore Haas. I thought you basically said everything that I was gonna say.
Yeah, and when we're on here with some of the other guys, it always seems like there's at least one adverse thought to our thought. And
I can only be devil's advocate so many times.
Yeah, and we tend to think a lot. So think alike a lot. I'm sorry, I'm trying to do too many things here at one time. But yeah, that we seem to think a lot alike. So I think. Oh, what just happened?
Well, it makes for less yelling at each other. Because I can't imagine disagreements ending anything but that when it comes to professional wrestling.
Yeah, so that's the reason our topics just seem to go through so much quicker, because we don't have that adverse back and forth. So, but that's fine, So I guess we've got a little bit of time here before Perry hits us with some snippets of truth. So while we wait on him, let's see if we can get another topic in here. Ooh, WWE salary. And there is a figure attached to this question that actually kind of surprises me. According to media outlets, WWE main roster stars make a minimum of $350,000 per year. Is this adequate pay? And honestly, that number actually surprises me because I always thought they made so much more, to be honest. I mean, you've got all these athletes out here making multi-millions of dollars, all these actors making multi-millions of dollars and everything. And then you've got, and I hate to put it this way, but everybody knows that, what wrestling is. These guys are athletes. They really do what they say they're going to do, or what you see them do. They really do it. But we all know that there's storylines behind everything. So they are a great combination of actors and athletes. And to look at two industries that make multi-millions of dollars and then look at somebody that is a cross between the two and they make a minimum of $350,000, that pay scale just seems off to me. And it really surprised me. Now, honestly, I don't think a lot of these people, the movie stars or athletes, either one, I don't think they deserve to make $1 million a year. Yes, they're entertaining us. Yes, they're highly athletic and everything. And they do have some real God-given talent. But I think a lot of them are just way overpaid, making millions of dollars a year. And so 350,000 adequate. They probably deserve to make more, especially looking at the pay scale of people in similar fields such as athletes and actors and stuff. What are your thoughts, Gabe?
I mean, excuse me. I mean, for me, I'm not really I don't know that I'm making enough money, but so I don't really know that I have any word to comment on it. My only real defense is that it just says minimum, so that means that's the least anybody's making on the roster. Put their bodies through, not really in the years to come, they may suffer health issues. Oh, absolutely. I absolutely think there should be an exit plan for these people. I'm not against that. But I would assume that if they're, able to do it as consistently and they're fine with their place in the company enough to do it or write contract extensions, because I would imagine some of these guys are probably like, dude, I'm used to a hot dog and a handshake. Like, I'll take $35,000 a year, or excuse me, $350,000 a year. But I mean, I want to say yes, it's adequate, but only because adequate isn't really a good descriptor of something. I mean, it's like, yeah, it's fine. It's not the worst. But I'm sure that's like, I don't know. I mean, I definitely agree with you, Hardcore Host, that I think that there are some people getting paid a little too much for what they're doing, but that's just me. But I would also imagine people like Roman or anybody else at the top of the card is making at least like way more than that.
Yeah, I mean they have to be. I mean, 350. That is a minimum, and so you don't see Roman Reigns making 350,000. I'm sure you don't see Cody Rhodes making 350,000. But at the same time, for like Susie said, for what they put their bodies through and the talent that a lot of these guys have, both on the athletic side and on the cinema side of it, I don't see 350,000 being enough compared to the minimum that a lot of these other people make. I mean, what's the league minimum for a football player? I'm sure I don't know what it is right off, but I'm sure you're looking at least $1 million, aren't you?
I can check. See, this is why we need Jeremy on the show, because he's the football guy. You said NFL or just league?
Well, NFL is the biggest one, I guess. So WWE would equate to NFL in my opinion. But
okay, I'm bad with numbers. I think we should just move on before I embarrass myself. But I mean, I guess we're just kind of middling on this question. I mean, I would like to make that much. WWE, you hiring? Like, it's a step up. But we're gonna throw it to the next question here, Hardcore Haas. Before we move, or we have any word from our next segment here on the Wrestle Talk podcast?
well, Perry should be here any time now, I believe.
Oh, okay.
It looks like they make an average of between 750 to 795,000 for an NFL minimum.
Okay, so that's at least twice as much as we're looking at right here. So thank you for looking that up. I didn't want to leave that question up in the air.
But yeah, so I think they deserve more personally, but you know,
it's because we love our wrestlers. We want them to be getting paid.
But then again, you know, I'd be happy with 350,000 a year. So
that's where we're at. WWE, sponsor us, please. We're here. Hashtag Let's Talk Wrestling.
Let's see what else we can get. We have Becky Lynch's contract status. So according to reports, Becky Lynch's WWE contract expired on June 1st. Will she stay with the WWE or will she sign elsewhere? You know, that's a good question. If she was to sign elsewhere, and I'm not saying that she is, because honestly, I don't think she is. I think you'll see her back with WWE. But if she was to sign elsewhere, I believe she would sign because of the less rigorous schedule, you know, such as, you know, AEW doesn't have such a tough schedule. They get a lot more downtime than WWE. And, you know, with the baby and everything, I could see where she can, actually, I guess it's not really baby anymore. It's more of a child age, but, you know, I can see where they'd want to spend more time with the child. And from that aspect, I could see where she would want the lesser schedule, but I don't really look for her to go for that. I look for her to simply take a little time off, probably go on a book tour, you know, promoting her book, and then she'll be back in WWE. And I believe Seth will be back in WWE as well. I believe he may have already signed his new contract. I'm not sure, but I think you will see them both in WWE again. I don't think they're going anywhere. But there's a lot of talk out there that she's going to pop up in AEW. She'll pop up in, you know, New Japan. I've heard of several different places, but I don't think so. So your thoughts, Gabe?
I say don't rule it out. I say she has just as much of an opportunity to jump to New Japan, a TNA, an AEW, as much as her coming back to the WWE. I honestly think she's going to pull a huge fade on all of us. Like, I think she's just going to do what you said, Haas, but just take it easy, kind of kick it, take care of the baby for a little bit. And then just, you know, like maybe tour the book, see how it does. and then maybe allude, like maybe do a couple of dates where she shows up and just says hi, or she's up in the audience, maybe just kind of colluding. And then the biggest swerve, it's like, oh, we see her in New Japan. Will she sign? And then the next night on Monday Night Raw, she's right there. And it's like, I played all of you. You thought I would sign with somebody else, because that just seems like the long-term thing Becky would do. Not that I don't think her stock would work in other companies, but I honestly think she's her best in WWE. But that's just me.
Yeah, and I don't think she'll have a problem. I mean, obviously, she's not going to have a problem getting a contract with WWE again. But if she wanted to go someplace else, she wouldn't have a problem getting a contract with them. I believe her stock getting a contract elsewhere is about like Mercedes Moné. I believe they have people clamoring, going, "Can I get Becky Lynch? Can I get Becky Lynch?" You know, I think she's going to be back in WWE, though. I don't believe she's going to go anywhere.
Like Charlotte Flair did. Pretty much, yeah. I mean, it would be a very fun swerve if she ended up going somewhere else. Like, I think that would be next level. Like, you know, of all people, John Haas, that I would love to see Becky Lynch in Japan. But I'm being realistic about it. Especially because I can't imagine traveling to Japan and back is very good. Like, but
yeah. With the baby, I truly believe that she may want a lighter schedule, but I don't think she's going anywhere. You know, she can't. She's not going to be in New Japan because of the travel. You know, like you say. Of course, you know, evidently, and I'm still, I'm still learning about New Japan. I'm still getting up on all that. But apparently they get to spend a lot of time in the States. I mean, look how much time Jon Moxley spent in the States since becoming their champion. So, but I think that the travel back and forth would be a lot for her with the child. And then you've got, AEW, like I say, they have a less workload, but I don't see her fitting as well in AEW as she does in WWE.
I agree. I think she gets more wiggle room with her contract in WWE too, because it's like she's literally like the face of the women's division. She can ask whatever she wants. Like, okay, so I'm working 6 days this year. Got it. Here's my contract.
She could be the female Roman Reigns.
I wouldn't bet against it.
She can be where I'll do pay-per-views only. You'll see me once a month, if that. And then in between, forget it. So, and I think WWE would probably go for that, just like they did with Roman. And I think the fans would still support her, and they would absolutely be happy that she's still there in WWE. Now, would they want to see her more? Sure, they would. But, who doesn't want to see more Becky Lynch? But I think they'd be happy with that. So I don't think she's going anywhere. I think WWE has more to offer than what the other ones would. Okay, well.
Are we reaching that time, Hardcore Haas?
Still no Perry. We still got a few minutes left here.
Okay. I think I'm just eager to get to his segment. I like the snippets of truth.
I do too. And I thought he was going to come in a few minutes ago, but he didn't. So he may be in the next few minutes then, because he hasn't said he's not coming. So let me go ahead and let me cue that randomizer up. I'm always giving people a hard time about breaking it, but I seem to have a little issue with it myself here. Okay. So the question will be, AJ and Cody here. On SmackDown, AJ Styles used a retirement tease to ambush Cody Rhodes. Do you agree or disagree with using this concept again so soon? Your thoughts, Gabe?
I don't know what they mean about soon. I know the last one was Mark Henry, but when was that happened?
This was a
20
question submitted by Luke Roberts, so I'm not exactly sure
Hold on.
on the soon myself. I don't remember anybody using it recently.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know what it's in regards to that. I'm assuming this is like 2017 or so. 2013.
At
Oh my
least not,
God. That's even
at
further.
least
I was
not
trying
in,
to short lowball it.
yeah, at least not in WWE. I don't remember anybody using it here
I don't know
recently.
outside of WWE. As far as them using it, I absolutely think it was a great idea. I loved it. I think it works a lot because now more so, Sean Vincent's tease retirement was absolutely terrible. I think he sucks. Is she referring to Sean Wallman?
No, she's talking about AJ, I think.
Oh, okay. Well, I thought the segment was dope. I thought it worked only because now more so than before, I think there's way too many people telling guys who still have a solid like 8 years in this business to hang it up. And it's like, don't tell them to hang it up. Don't tell them. And then don't act like you weren't surprised when you thought he was actually going to hang it up and they swerved your ass. I think that makes sense for AJ and Cody. And I just want to throw this out there to everybody. You like the first match, right? Like, let me ask you, did you like the first match, Haas?
The first match was okay, yeah.
We get to run it back and they get to do it even better this time because I promise you they're gonna get another 5 stars. You watch. But I enjoyed the segment. I don't know about you. What are your thoughts, Haas?
Honestly, as far as the segment, the segment worked for what it was supposed to be. And I'm not, I don't hate the segment. But from the get-go, I kept saying AJ's not retiring. They are making you think he is retiring, but he is not retiring. And then when he called Cody out there, come on, man. Ray Charles could have seen that coming from a mile away. Everybody should have known what was up when he called Cody out there, that he was turning on Cody and to get his title shot. I mean, it wasn't, like I say, it was not a bad segment. The segment did what it was supposed to do. But I don't know, it just was too predictable for me. And I don't know if that was, me being a wrestling fan for so many years and being able kind of to come up with some storylines myself and or rather it was really that predictable. To me, it was. That's just my opinion.
I feel like it was supposed to be predictable. I don't know. Maybe I'm just trying to defend this way too much. Jimmy Harris Jr., thank you for being on the show, man. Welcome to the Wrestle Talk podcast as always. No, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it is that we're a little too old. I feel like that's part of it. I feel like all the 10-year-olds in the audience were like, oh my God, he didn't actually retire. He did that just so he could hit Cody. Look, I look at wrestling through the eyes of a child. All right, John Haas.
Hey, we may be a little too old, but neither of us are 50 years old.
There you go. Like Jeremy Carr. Oh, goodness.
Just had to throw that little dig in there.
Of course. I'm so sorry. Yeah. I keep yawning.
So, I tell you what, let's go ahead. Our guest should be here very shortly. Excuse me, I just got a message from our guest here.
Got him in the green room ready to go.
So he should be with us shortly. So since Perry still is not here, I tell you what, Gabe, let's go ahead and give everybody an update here on FWWC, because as we've talked in the past, that the CEO had been suspended from his booking duties, and he was going to stand trial. So that trial did take place this past Thursday night. Some of you may have caught that here on the Wrestle Talk's Facebook page, as we did broadcast the trial live.
Dewan Mills had some very choice words. So as always, viewer discretion is advised. But
and literally showed his ass.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. But yeah, so ultimately by the end of the trial, he was found not guilty on all charges except one. He was found guilty of basically, I guess you could say, an overreach of power by trying to insert himself into a main event match against Mata at Universe Mania. And so his sentence now is that Mata has to approve all bookings, and he is in the FED with me, where I get to oversee his wrestling career.
I wanted to clarify that. Yeah, not wrestling you in the FED, wrestling under you in the FED.
Correct.
The CEO is the cashier, as I like to coin, here in the FWWC. Mr. Mills has been told by one El Mata Rata, the Jefe himself, that he must start from the bottom and work his way to the main event of Universe Mania 11. And, as somebody who is hoping, actually, no, I'm not hoping. I'm determined. I'm determined to get another main event here in Universe Mania in the FWWC. Mr. Mills, you have a very long way to go, but Lord knows I will not be staying in your path because, quite frankly, I may use this phrase a lot of times here in the Wrestle Talk podcast, but the CEO was hotter than a $2 pistol, ladies and gentlemen. Julius Cairo seems to be the first man on his list on his way to climbing back the Mount Olympus that is here in the FWWC just to get his hands on Mata. And it promises to be a big one. But
yes, definitely. And keep your eyes on the FWWC page. There's plenty of stuff coming up there. Susie Haas has been doing a banger job with her international title program. And so there's been a lot going on with that. And
don't shortchange me now here.
Well, but that's kind of kept the FWWC going during the suspension from Mills. That's most of the action that we've seen. And, you and Moby have had a very good program going on.
I take pride in my violence, John Haas. I'll have you know. I didn't throw his face into that contract for nothing. All right. I'm here to talk about it here on the FWWC Wrestle Talk podcast segment. Because, folks, we need people. If you think you're man enough to step up into the ring in the FWWC, please be sure to step on by, because Hardcore Haas will get those lessons instilled to you very quickly.
And also, we have a Ruler of the Ring tournament coming up.
That is correct. Oh, boy. I believe Xavier Sane has already thrown in his hat in the ring, and I kind of want to be the first one to take him down.
I have seen a few people throw their hats in the ring.
Do we see a potential hardcore champion?
Well, champions cannot be in the tournament.
That's lame. I'm sorry. I know I don't make the rules here, but that's lame.
Well, that's simply because the winners get a mid-card title shot at I know they can go for the hardcore championship. They can go for the international championship. I think those might be the only two they're going for. But, they get a mid-card title shot, basically, if they win. So it wouldn't exactly make sense for myself or Sister Haas or one of the other champions to win and get the shot, because we don't like to have double champions down there anymore. So.
I don't know. I think if somebody can do the work to be a double champion, they can do it. But like, I guess that's in the caveat. They got to do the work. So,
and no, Spartan's Heart will not be included in that. So Sister Haas said Spartan. That will not be included because of the fact that that is a cash-in championship in itself. So that would be like cashing in at a cash-in championship. So that will not be allowed. So I believe the international and hardcore will be the only two up for choosing. But so there's a lot going on in the FWWC. Be sure to check them out on the FWWC Facebook group. There is also a FWWC community on X now. So be sure to check that out. There's a lot of stuff happening that's going to be exclusive on X. So even if you're in the FWWC and you're on the FWWC page, don't think that you're on the main place, because there are going to be stuff taking place exclusively on X. So if you don't watch the X,
I believe we have a live interview with Moby Lee for our first X exclusive.
But yeah, so that's what's going on in the FWWC, and so it doesn't look like we're going to get a snippets tonight unless he comes in afterwards, which he is more than welcome to do. But before we get to our interview, you want to read out our sponsors for us one more time here, Gabe, before we get to our interview. And I will scroll them here in just a second. Let me go ahead and let me hit this.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
So as always, the Wrestle Talk podcast would like to thank all of our great sponsors, including Royal Mills Transportation, head by one CEO, DeJuan Mills, Nobleman's Barber Lounge in Kansas City, Missouri, Kincaid Arcade at Oak Park Mall, Interstate 70 Sports Media, Little Popeye Designs. It's where you can pick up your Wrestle Talk podcast, Tumblr, and of course the FWWC, the world's premier fantasy wrestling group.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for our first hour. And the FWWC is also looking for new hosts for the FWWC tonight. So if you're interested, throw your hat in the ring. Be sure to cut a promo as to why you deserve to host, and put that on the FWWC page, because that was another condition to the sentence is he is no longer allowed to host the FWWC tonight. But okay, so now that we're all caught up on that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we do have our featured guest in the green room. So as I say, it looks like Perry won't make it in time for a Snippets of Truth. Should he come in at the end of the show, he's more than welcome to do so. But let's go ahead and let's get our featured guest in here. One second here. Sorry about that. So our featured guest tonight is a man who started his wrestling career back in 2014. He trained down in Richmond, Virginia, with Dave McLeod. He's also trained with names such as Mickey James, Magnus, Sanjay Dutt, Shane Strickland, Jeff Jarrett, Bill DeMont, Les Thatcher. And ever since 2016, he has been going under his current character name. He can be seen at places such as TCW, ATCW, C3W. Sorry. He's wrestled in North Carolina. He's wrestled in Maryland, Virginia. He's wrestled in the DC area. He's wrestled in West Virginia. So he's wrestled all over, ladies and gentlemen. He is the one and only. He is let's give a welcome to Axl Crowe, ladies and gentlemen.
What's up, y'all? How you doing?
How's it going tonight?
Good. How about you?
Going good, going good. Thank you for joining us, Axl. Always a
Yeah,
privilege
thank you for having
to
me.
have you on.
Appreciate you.
So-
Appreciate you.
It's a pleasure to have you on the show, man.
Yeah,
I like the
thanks for
details you
having
got in
me.
the background, by the way.
Yeah, appreciate you.
I'm a huge dork, so I like to check out posters. But welcome to the Wrestle Talk
Yeah.
podcast, dude. It's a pleasure to have you.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
So,
Did we cue up the intro pretty well? Did we rattle off the
Yeah, no, that was great. Yeah, that was great.
So, as I mentioned to you once before, my co-host Gabe, he is from Florida, and he is actually aspiring to get into the wrestling business.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome.
So he always looks forward to getting to sit under the learning tree of those who have the experience and knowledge that he needs to get into the wrestling business. So what's one thing that you would recommend to Gabe as trying to get into the wrestling business?
If you're gonna do it, be serious about it. It's a lot of dedication. Um, find somebody who's some like real training, like a real training school, and stick with it. I mean, so a lot of people do it, they get their foot in the door, and then they're done within the first week. Um, it's tough, especially starting out, but you stick with it and you keep going. You're gonna enjoy it and you're gonna love every minute of it.
That's awesome. I'll keep that in mind. So
So,
if I could, sorry, I thought you were going to.
No, I was just going to go ahead and throw it over to you, Gabe, and let you go ahead and ask the question.
Well, I wanted to rattle off some of the trainers that I heard off of there. You know, I'm catching a lot of TNA talent. You know, Jeff Jarrett, Sanjay Dutt. You know, I if you can narrow it down, can you give me like a piece of advice? What's the best piece of advice you heard from out of all your trainers? I guess I would have to say.
Oh man. Okay,
And was there anybody was there any standout teaching scenarios? Like was anybody harsher than anybody else, or you know, did they instill a lesson into you that you thought was like, okay, this is different from how Jeff runs it, but it makes sense psychologically?
So funny story. We did the Les Thatcher dojo, and he was teaching us how to lock up. And when I locked up with him, I accidentally made contact with his neck. Like I gave him a little smack on the neck. Because I did that, he smacked me in the face pretty hard in front of the whole class, and it kind of embarrassed me. But he explained why he did what he did, and it made sense, and I understood. But that was a different lesson than any other lesson that I've ever had before. But good learning experience. But it was definitely funny.
It
Um,
definitely seems like the kind of lesson to stick out in your mind. Well, there was that time
Yeah, it was like
point blank in the face.
yeah, right. Like it was just like, okay, all right. What do you do from here? Like you understand and you try to do better next time.
Yeah, I mean
Piece of it. Go ahead. I'm sorry. That's my
no,
bad.
you're okay. I'm just like I'm just imagining you like stone faced taking it like, okay, well, I guess I
Yeah,
heard
it's
that.
like all right, man. I got you.
But shout out to Susie Haas saying hello to you. Hi, Axl. Good to see you. I'm assuming she's made
Hey.
Hi, bro. You got fans in the audience here tonight.
Oh, that's awesome. Hi guys. Thank you for supporting me and showing up. I appreciate it.
But I guess I just wanted to throw it back to your trainers. Who was the most fun, I guess? Do you have any because you mentioned, you know, getting slapped in the face, but do you have any outstanding stories? Like, did anybody ever go out and do something with you? I mean, is there any like standout, you know, moments? Like maybe somebody I know sometimes people rib you. Like, did you ever get any a big ribbed story that you're like, okay, y'all got me, and that was good?
Never. So it was the Build the Mott dojo.
Mm.
And Mickey James and Magnus were also helping run it. And the whole time, I've always been really bad on diet. It's always been a really bad thing for me. So they were telling us the whole time, like, don't go out, don't get anything greasy, like, don't go to McDonald's. And the people that were riding with me wanted to get McDonald's, so I ended up just going to McDonald's with them, just cause whatever. So I got a little, I think it was like I want to say it was like a 6-piece chicken nugget, just something light, nothing too crazy.
Yeah, just
And
keep it basic. Dollar menu.
there's nothing too crazy. And I look over and Mickey James walks into the McDonald's. And this was supposed to be like our lunch break. So like we just kind of went off and ventured off for like an hour. Straight got busted. They made fun of me for the rest of I think the entire weekend. It was, but also in that same weekend too, for a great experience with the trainers. Um, I was, I want to say 17 at the time. I had to have my grandmother sign for me so I could actually do the training. But I also didn't have the money, so I wasn't going to do the training. I was just going to show up and listen and just kind of help out in any way that I could. Well, I got a voicemail from my actual trainer, Dave, the night before telling me to bring my gear. And I was kind of like, why am I bringing my gear? I don't have any money, whatever. So I show up and Magnus pulls me to the side and look, I know you don't have the money, but me and Mickey really see something in you and we don't want you to miss this opportunity. So because of that, we are going to pay for this training for you. And I thought that was like the coolest thing in the world.
What?
Yeah, I thought that was so
So you
cool.
got Magnus and Mickey James to hook you up into getting to wrestling.
Yep. Very cool. Very cool.
That's I'm sorry. Like I'm in awe of that. That's awesome. That's just
Yeah,
like if
it was
Satoshi Kojima paid for my college. Like what?
I was like, I was starstruck. I'm not gonna lie, it was crazy. I was like, no way. Like, I watched you as a kid. Like, there's no way this is happening right now. But like, great experience. Great experience. Definitely two of the greatest people I've ever worked with.
I would imagine they seem like. I mean, Mickey especially. Like she seems like an
Oh yeah,
absolute
super down to earth, super sweet.
So I wanted to throw it to Hardcore Haas real quick before I wrap up all my questions. But did you have any you wanted to ask Corey here? Am I cool to call you Corey, or do you prefer Axl?
No, you can call me Corey. It's fine. It's fine. I ain't got no face paint on or anything, so it's all good.
Trust me, from one face painted wrestler to another, I get it.
Yeah. As I told you when I first asked about the interview, we tend to like to try. We try to get into your character some and get into what's going on and in the professional wrestling with you, but we also like to get to know you as the person too. So
yeah, of course,
we kind of like to go both ways. But and you said in 2016 was when you came up with the Axl character. How did Axl first come about?
So I was just starting to kind of break out and do matches, and at the training school I was at, they wanted me to wrestle under a mask. They kind of were throwing me under random names, like I was from China and Japan and all this, and it wasn't me. I wasn't feeling it. So all of the clown stuff going on, I just thought, I was like, what better way to get heat than to be what everybody is afraid of right now? So I put some face paint on and I cut this little promo. It wasn't nothing. It was like I want to say like 2 minutes long. And I posted it, and the next day I woke up and it was like I had like 80 comments and like over 100 likes and 1,000 views. And I was like, what? And everybody's like, this should be your next gimmick. This should be your next gimmick. And I was like, I'm running with it. And ever since then, it's stuck. It's basically a part of my life all of the time.
That's awesome. And then Hardcore Haas, you mind if I piggyback off that question real quick?
No, go ahead.
I wanted to ask, because I'm all about like, inspirations and getting to the root of like why people do things what they do. It's easy to forget, Ric Flair, he was inspired. He wasn't the first Nature Boy, so I like to think, where did the name Axl come from? And then where did the look come from? Like me personally, the face makeup I'm able to do on occasion, it's inspired by one of my favorite video games, Guilty Gear. It's got the kind of smoky eye, skull smile look. Everybody always mistakes it for Joker, and I try to clarify. So I would imagine, like, I don't want to make any
I
assumptions.
get it. Yeah, I get mistaken for ICP all the time, so it's okay. So honestly, at the time, the face paint kind of just happened. I just kind of did something, and it worked. Like it fit, and I liked it. So I was like, okay. So that's how. But a lot of the inspiration for the face paint, I mean, a lot of inspiration for Axl Crowe in general, obviously, is going to be Brandon Lee's The Crow. Brandon Lee's The Crow. You got Heath Ledger's The Joker, and you've got Pennywise. Those are three of my biggest inspirations, just mixed together
You big
and
horror nut.
amplified.
Love it here.
Yeah. So the face paint, like I said, just kind of came up. I just came up with it. The name, though, that was an interesting one. Me and my best friend, basically, is my brother. He's actually a big part of the Crow series. I have a whole backstory that I created. Me and him sat down one day, and it was like, what name can I come up with? Like, what would be cool with this makeup? Like, what can I do that's different? And he was like, Axl, and I was like, Axl, I like that. That just was like, what last name? We started thinking about it and thinking about it. And we came up with so many different things, and then Crow stuck. And I was like, well, let's change it up a little bit. I was like, let's take the E from Axl and put it at the end of Crow, and let's make it its own thing. And here we are.
Awesome.
Just a little teamwork with my brother.
There you go, man. Something special. And then I wanted to say I think the Joker comparison is very apropos because I really like. Is that a custom shirt? Is that your official work? Or is that?
Yeah, this one's me.
What? Oh man, that's sick, dude. That looks like a supervillain logo. I dig that a lot. Can I pick that up somewhere? Can we throw that out as a question? Do you have any merch?
I don't have any online merch yet. I'm trying to figure out the best website, something that's not going to rip people off.
I got you.
And everything is just yeah, I got you. I can
Insta
always get one made and send you one.
Oop.
So you just we'll get together later and we'll figure that out. I got you.
For sure. I love it because I'm loving it. Like I know I said my character wasn't close to the Joker, but I do love the Joker. So it's like when I see that, especially in wrestling, I'm like, bring it on, please.
I got another design too, and I've got a whole look, and I got everything is changing in like just a couple of months. I'm just waiting on the gear to be made, and then everything drops at the same time. So I can't wait for that one.
Well, that definitely should be interesting to see.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
With you, Haas. Sorry.
So just in case anybody doesn't understand, maybe they missed the poster or whatever, they just happen to tune in. If they haven't seen your look, that is what Axl looks like, when he is in full gimmick. So,
and I look completely different.
Quite the silhouette, I must say, and I love it.
But yeah, so I noticed you had to take a few years off, which were for personal reasons and everything. So what was the hardest part about getting back into the ring when you came back? What was the hardest thing about that?
I had gotten really out of shape. So just adjusting to in-ring cardio was terrible. I mean, I'm talking I was blown up in like the first 2 minutes of the match, and that's is a no-no. So that was the biggest thing, and I'm working on it. Slowly but surely, it's getting better.
Yeah, you definitely seem to have a lot of energy. Unfortunately, I missed the last show. with ATCW, but I did catch video of you on the side of the ring dancing with the cousins there. So
We always catch the little moments, huh?
Yeah, that was a fun moment. That was a fun moment. That crowd is just something special. I love entertaining them, giving them some kind of joy. I love it.
So, I know the next show for ATCW is going to be Justice, which takes place, of course, Leetown Community Center on June 15th. And 7 matches, 4 titles. And I don't know if they've released who you're facing yet. Do we know who you're facing yet? Or
Not quite yet, but should be released soon, and then the promos should be dropping, and then all the fun begins.
Is there anybody you wouldn't want it to be, or am I just casting out there?
No, I'll take anybody.
Like anybody, I like that.
Anybody.
Axl Crowe doesn't bow down to anybody. I dig it. So who's gonna step up?
Right. We accept all shapes and sizes at the Carnival of Souls.
Can we get that on a shirt, please? That's what's up. That's like the hardest bar to open a line with. Are you kidding me?
now, don't be stealing his stuff now, Gabe.
Never.
Hey.
Never. Are you kidding me?
That's a good idea. I never would have thought to put that on a
Original.
shirt, so that's a good one.
That's what's up.
So, I just lost my train of thought. Why do I don't seem to do that here lately? But
It
anyway,
happens to me all the time.
did you have any more questions there, Gabe?
Oh, I mean, I guess I could throw the standard one. Now that you're getting back into wrestling, are there any names you're trying to look out for? And specifically, is there anybody or anywhere you're trying to end up? I always like to see what's ahead for a wrestler. You're here now, but where do you want to see yourself in the next couple of months or the next time we have you on the show? Do we hear from you in a TNA? I mean, I know you got the connections there, but do we see you in WWE? Would you want to work in somewhere like a New Japan or All Japan or even even Mexico? I mean, I know I want to go there, but just to throw it out there, I mean, what do you aspire for here in wrestling in your future?
So options are always open for me. I'm always down. If the opportunity presents itself, I'm never going to turn it down. That's anywhere, right? As far as where I want to go, there's no real, I mean, the only real want that I have is to wrestle a couple of my idols and see how far I can make it, how far I can take this character and what I can do with it, and really how many people I can help out along the way. Because that's really why I do this. Wrestling is great and I love it, but the reactions that the people giving them that 15 minutes of entertainment where they can just let go of the rest of the world and just enjoy, that's everything to me. So if I could get to a bigger level and I could see the fireflies in the distance and the hundreds of thousands, and I know that people are going home and they're gonna remember that moment, I would love that. I would love that. But it just sees what time has for me.
I can appreciate that. That's a classy answer, Corey, I must say. It's not even about where it's at. It's just that you want to meet an audience big enough and just to be an entertainer to them. And I don't mean that in that bad way. I mean that in you did your job. It makes you feel good as a wrestler kind of way.
Yeah, no, I'm a huge I go to a lot of concerts. Wrestling's always been a thing for me. I'm a big fan of going and watching somebody perform. Go ahead, you're good.
Well, I wanted to throw this out there. Who's harder to deal with? Concert crowds or wrestling crowds?
Oh boy. Oh boy. See, they're both great in their own ways.
Because I go to metal shows, so I know sometimes they thrash, but I know people like to do that. So I'm like, is that more fun or less fun than when a crowd just does what chants? I don't know.
It depends on the vibe you're going for in that moment. So I like being in certain mosh pits I don't like being in, but I like the crowd. Certain crowds, I've been in some crowds where I don't like them in concerts, and I've been in crowds where I'm like, these guys all 50,000 of you are my family tonight. Like some crowds are great. Same with wrestling. I've been to some shows where the crowd is amazing. ATCW has an amazing crowd. I wrestled a show in North Carolina and the crowd was just, I don't know, nobody could get them to do anything. Not a boo, not a yay, nothing. And I was like, they were difficult. So I mean, it just depends on
Give
the
us
mood
something.
and you
That
know what
must
I
be
mean. It just
difficult for a
depends.
wrestler.
Oh boy, that was the whole show. It was just a bad vibe all the way around.
Just like because you guys thrive off of reaction. So when you get a flat line, it's like, what do you do? Like, you're like, we tried playing
Sometimes,
heel, we tried playing face, nothing worked.
yeah, no. Sometimes I get it because sometimes if you catch a crowd enough, they're gonna be zoned in, locked in, and they're not gonna be able to do much. But the crowd giving me a reaction back makes my job easier, and it just makes things work. So when it doesn't happen, it just kind of throws things off a little bit.
I
It's
feel that.
different.
I can definitely
It's
understand that.
different.
Well, because I find that in my line of work. Like I'm a salesperson, and sometimes my crowds
But
are like easy. They hit the cues, and there are other times where you're just like, come on, work with me. It's like pity clap.
yeah,
Like, come on. But I
So
think I was good with the questions.
my sister that comes with me, Susan. You met her at the last show I was at.
yeah, super cool person.
She actually threw a few questions out there. She wanted to know, if you weren't wrestling, what would you be doing?
Man, a musician. A musician or man, that's a hard one. I've been wrestling for so long and that thought has never even crossed my mind. Um, Definitely musician, probably a marine biologist too. I like sharks and dolphins and working in the water, so that would be cool.
So yeah, I like that answer. It's a little out there. I like that it's musician then marine biologist. Music. So you
Yeah.
got two passions. You had a backup plan, and then marine biologist was like the emergency shoot.
I can play a couple instruments, but not too well.
You also mentioned earlier you'd love to get in the ring with a few of your idols, and she threw the question out there: who would your dream opponent be? So
Oh boy, the greatest of all time, in my opinion, is Jeff Hardy.
I think that would be an awesome match. You and Jeff Hardy. I mean, from what I've seen of you and everything, that would be absolute awesome match to watch. I'd love to see that.
You guys would tear it
Yeah, it
up.
would be a dream. Literally, I've never even met him. Never even met him. I've had the
Oh,
opportunity
hardcore
twice
hug.
and missed it.
Really? So just by that much, you missed it.
Yeah, so at the time I worked for Papa Lock, and he came to Richmond for a one of his concerts. He was touring for his, music, and my boss wouldn't let me off, but I had bought VIP tickets. So I had to give it to my mother-in-law at the time and my best friend. And they got a video of him saying, like, catch me later, but like it still wasn't the same. I was like, man, it was like right there. Right there.
Like golden sand just right through your fingers. Ah, dude, I feel for you. That's awful.
Had to be
It's all good.
frustrating.
One day, right?
One day,
All in due
absolutely.
time. All in due time.
He's gonna hear you on this podcast. This is our opportunity. Jeff Hardy, this is
Yes,
Axl Crowe's shot. He wants to face you.
please.
Can we get him as the mystery opponent?
Oh boy. What? Greatest day
And
of my life.
she also wanted to know who's been your least favorite match and why.
Gives the details. Who was a butthead?
There was a person, I don't know his name. It was a double booking day for me. We had wrestled in Voltage in Maryland and then wrestled in C3W in DC. And there was a kid I wrestled. I don't know if he was a kid. He might have been older than me. I don't know for real. But I showed up and I had 5 minutes to get my face paint prepared again after my last match and get in the ring basically. And I was trying to figure out necessarily not the match, but who was going to be the good guy, who was going to be the bad guy. And we couldn't figure it out. And it was just a rough night for me. That was my least favorite match. Good kid though. He's a great kid, good in the ring, great. That was just a tough night. So that was my least favorite, but only for that reason. Everybody else is.
We can at least aspire for that, right? Like, because
Yeah.
imagine at least it's not a night where you got like your foot broke or like somebody did something horrible or stiffed you on cash. Because at least the guy was cool. Because I would imagine in wrestling that gets old fast. You're just like, bro.
Yeah, no,
Don't be that guy.
So you said that you have held the 304 championship. What did it mean to you the night that you actually got to win the 304 championship?
Oh boy. So it's a tough one because like I said, I don't do this for the titles. It's great when I get amazing when I got this one right. I'll get into that one, but I'm not doing this for the titles. And especially for the character that I have as Axl Crowe, titles aren't what he's chasing either. So when I won the title that night, it was mixed emotions, but a lot of it was excitement and like, wow, like after all these years, all this hard work, all this pain that I put my body through, and I finally was able to pull it off. And the reaction that I got from Chucky and the crowd and everybody, it definitely will go down as one of the greatest nights of my life, honestly. So that night was super special.
Yeah, and Susie says any championship is awesome, but it's about the fans. So
100%, because without them, I don't have a job.
Keeping it real.
So what can we look for out of Axl coming up?
As far as in like what? Like different places travel, where I'm headed, what I'm trying to do, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm keeping it easy until my gear is made. Once the gear is made and everything's set in stone, then I'm really gonna like hit the road running. So right now is just taking it easy, getting my ring time, learning as much as I can, and just getting different experiences from the different people that I'm in the ring with. Obviously, that's going to continue to go as I go down the road. But right now is just about learning and adapting and growing. And that way, when everything gets here, I can just go straight for it.
All right. Well, we definitely look forward to seeing that, and we'll definitely, when I catch you at shows and stuff, I always try to take pictures and put them up for all the Wrestle Talk family to see and everything. So I'll definitely have to make sure I get pictures out there, once you get your new gear and everything, so that the fam can see the changes that you made and everything. So
I'm excited.
I'm curious to see what it looks like, man. You got to give us the scoop when it arrives. We'll post it up on the page, right?
Should be hopefully should be by July. Hopefully. August at latest, I'm hoping to, but it just depends on the gear maker.
The shipment.
Well, maybe we can get you up here for a show sometime, Gabe. That would be awesome.
I would love that. I don't play with that. I would love to be out there, especially have an opportunity to meet Axl in person. You kidding me?
Man, that would be awesome.
You can show me how to do a suplex. No, maybe not on.
I'll show you anything you know.
There we go.
I'll show you anything I know.
Let's start.
I can't show you everything because I'm not the best, but I got you on anything that I know.
Absolutely. I'm gonna hold you to that. No,
I got you.
but before we get out of hand here, Hardcore Haas, were we looking to get us into our next segment here?
I was just about to ask if you had any more questions before we move into it.
I think the only question I got left is Axl Crowe. We have a segment here we like to do in the Wrestle Talk podcast. Whenever we have our guests, sort of a bit of initiation into the Wrestle Talk podcast family, we will never leave our guests without an opportunity to be a contestant on the world famous Wrestle Talk podcast game show challenge. So if you would do us the honors, we would love to close out our show with yours truly facing up against you in the game show challenge in a best of 3. Are you up to the task, buddy?
I'm down to try it.
All righty. That's what we like to hear.
And Robbie Wayne chimed in and says that the new gear is going to be fire. And we also have Miss RNA who says Robbie Wayne's right, and that's exciting. So
can't wait.
Can't wait.
So plenty of people looking forward to seeing the reveal of the new Axl Crowe. So I'm definitely going to have to make sure I'm on hand for that one.
It's going to be great.
All right. Well, we got a little music here for the game show challenge. So let's go ahead and hit that real quick.
All right.
All right, welcome to this week's installment of the world famous Wrestle Talk podcast game show challenge. Tonight's contest is scheduled for the best 2 out of 3 falls. Our contestants are Wrestle Talk podcast's very own Gabriel Arsin and Axl Crowe. In a few moments, I will ask you 3 questions about a particular professional wrestling topic. Whenever you think you know the answer to the question, just shout out your answer. The first person to win 2 falls will win tonight's game show challenge.
All right.
So, and if you shout it out and it's not right, feel free to shout out another answer. You get more than 1 attempt if needed. So,
all right, let's do this.
It's not a one and done.
Should be fun.
And Gabe, Susie says Axl's gonna hurt you.
In the game show or in real life?
I don't know what Axl does. I'm just Corey, all right?
That's the part that worries me.
So tonight's Wrestle Talk podcast game show challenge category is finishing move. I will give you the name of a finishing move. You will need to tell me who uses the move. When you think you know the answer, shout out your answer. The first person to win 2 out of 3 falls wins tonight's contest. Are you ready, gentlemen?
I'm ready.
I think I'm ready.
All right. Your first finishing move is the Tombstone Pile Driver.
Undertaker.
Ooh, that was close.
It was close, but I think I heard Gabe just a little before.
You got it. All right.
All right. Question number 2. The Torture Rack.
Lex Luger.
Ooh, Gabe got that one quick too.
Yeah, that was all you, bro. Good.
All right.
Good job.
Well, what we'll do here, because it is a best of 3, and because I'd like to give the opportunity, we're gonna make this last question all or nothing. So, despite my 2 pinfalls, we're gonna throw this last one to fate and give it to Axl Crowe versus Gabriel Arsin. Last question here. Are you ready for it?
I'm ready.
Alrighty. Throw it to us, Haas.
All right. The third finishing move is the Perfect Plex.
Mr. Perfect.
Mr. Perfect.
Gabriel Arsin has won the game show challenge.
It's like the first time in like 6 months.
Good job.
The last 2. We got our
That was
big
like that close.
just that close. Trust me.
Yeah.
And we got a little bit of winter's music here.
I like to brag a little bit. The only way I'm actually getting a win over Axl Crowe here, because I ain't trying to step.
You never know.
But in all honesty, Corey, you are a fantastic talent, even more fantastic individual. It's an honor to be able to challenge you to the game show. It's even more of an honor to have you here on the show tonight. Have an opportunity just to give some advice. I mean, Hardcore Haas said it himself. I'm trying to get into the business. So, to get advice from somebody like you, who's really, in my eyes, hitting their stride when it comes to wrestling and really getting down to that, I don't know, the nucleus of what makes good character work here in the world of professional wrestling. I just want to extend a thank you on behalf of not just me, not just Hardcore Haas, but the Wrestle Talk podcast, both the guys in the back and the family here tonight, for you taking the time out to be on the show. I mean, we really do.
I appreciate it. I appreciate that. That was great.
Of course. And if we can, Haas, do we have this on cue? Are we able to? I don't know if you're catching my drift here.
I'm not sure which one you're asking for.
For the applause, if we can.
Oh, okay.
I gotta get a cue for that.
I do have them somewhere.
Just technical difficulties here in the
here it is.
Wrestle Talk podcast. There we go. On behalf of the Wrestle Talk podcast, from us to you, thank you for being on the show tonight, Corey.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I definitely appreciate you guys. It was awesome.
Thank you.
Yes, and officially welcome to the Wrestle Talk podcast family. It's been a great pleasure, and we definitely want you to promise us that you'll be willing to come back, because I'm not even sure that we scratched the surface, when it comes to Axl Crowe. So we definitely would love to have you back sometime.
Anytime, you just let me know and I'm there.
And
Don't
also,
forget us little people, you get famous.
yeah. Also, before you go, another comment that came in. Carolyn Bass is the absolute best. Shoot for the stars, Axl.
That's Caitlin, but
so
my girlfriend. Thank you.
It did look like Carolyn. I had to double check, but
I'm sorry. I sorry I mispronounced your name. I'm doing bad with names tonight. Originally had Axl's name misspelled, and
Hey, you're not the only one. It happens all the time. I get it. The normal spelling is with an E, so when it happens, I get it.
I will clarify, there are spellings of Axl like that, though. One of my favorite fighting game characters, it's spelled like that. So just throwing that out there. But before I forget, and before we wrap up here tonight on the show, if you have any socials here that you want to try to shout out, any shows, I mean, we know you're appearing on that next one, if we could get that poster back up, but where can we find you? Where can anybody who is a fan of Axl Crowe, get any information about you? Do you have an X, Twitter, anything you want to, Instagram, anything you'd like to plug? And, send us off here for justice. We want to hear about what you're doing at the Leetown Community Center.
Yeah, so you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok as under Axl Crowe. And as far as justice, whoever it is, I'm ready to have a good time. So let's tear the house down and let's do things right.
Definitely look forward to
right now.
Definitely look forward to seeing you there. I'm going to make sure that I make that one. Unfortunately, I had a prior commitment earlier in the day, and then, in all honesty, as a graduation gift, because earlier in the day I graduated ministry school. So as a graduation gift, I was actually given tickets to the other show in town. And so I was there that night. I'd hurt my back earlier in the day, though. So had I not had tickets to that, I probably would have just stayed home with my back injury. But like I said, definitely going to make the next show. I always look forward to seeing wrestling, as much as possible. It's always a good time, and an opportunity for a lot of people come together for one reason, just the love of professional wrestling and put everything else aside. So,
Yep. Well, can't wait to see you. It's gonna be a great time.
yep, thank you for being here. We appreciate it, and we hope to see you again. Any last words before we let you go?
Nope, that's it. Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
All right, thank you. We really appreciate having you. Axl Crowe, ladies and gentlemen. Be sure to catch him on all those social medias as Axl Crowe.
You just look up Axl Crowe. I did it just now. Like Instagram, TikTok. I'm trying to find him on X in just a bit, but man, that guy was awesome. Oh my gosh. I'm still he was the one talking about being starstruck. I'm the one that's starstruck right now. Okay. What is this episode? We're in episode 485 right now, aren't we?
We're 85.
Oh my
15
god.
episodes from 500. We're ticking away. Actually, I guess since this one is officially in the books, 14 episodes from 500. And we're getting ever so closer. Be sure to stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen, because we have so many great people lined up between now and 500. And we have surprises in store for episode 500. You definitely aren't going to want to miss it. It's going to be a fun show, but we can't let you in on everything because we got to leave some things a surprise.
Of course.
So,
as always, here on the Wrestle Talk podcast, we're going to give you the latest when it comes to WWE, NXT, TNA, the FWWC, the latest happening with Axl Crowe, everything going on in the world of professional wrestling on our road to episode. And as always, Gabriel Arsen and Hardcore Haas coming to you once again, another episode 485 in the record books at the Wrestle Talk podcast. We're wishing you all a fantastic night. And thanks again for watching.
All right. So that's going to do it, ladies and gentlemen. We want to thank you once again. And before we get out of here, one last time, want to be sure to shout out those sponsors. We want to thank all of our wonderful sponsors. Royal Mills Transportation, the one and only Dewan Mills in the KC area. Nobleman's Barber Lounge, KCMO, ask for Pete the Barber. Kincaid Arcade at the Oak Park Mall. Interstate 70 Sports Media, Little Papa's Designs, where you get your very own Wrestle Talk podcast tumbler. And the FWWC, the world's premier fantasy wrestling group, ladies and gentlemen. Be sure to check them out. And that's going to do it. So thank you. Be sure to share the replay. If you're catching us on the replay, we want to thank you for tuning in on that as well. So till next week, we'll be seeing you. And once again, happy birthday to the maestro, Jeremy Carr.